Hello, and welcome to OptiSigns. My name is Garrett, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to showcase birthdays on your digital screens and have them automatically update using our OptiSync feature. I'm just going to be using birthdays as an example, but this feature is ideal for restaurant menus, product catalogs, work anniversaries, and much, much more. It's a great way for you to easily and automatically update elements within your content without even logging into OptiSigns. Pretty cool. So let's dive in. First thing we need to do is link a data source to our account. These data sources can be external spreadsheets such as Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, APIs, or internal tables that you create within OptiSigns. So let's go ahead and log in to OptiSigns. Once logged in, you will go to Files and Assets, select Apps, and select Designer. Now, what this app is within OptiSigns is it basically gives you a blank canvas to create whatever you want within OptiSigns. You'll notice on the left-hand side, there is a data source tab. When you click on that, you'll see there's an Add Data Source button. Click Add Data Source. Now this is going to pull up all the different data source options you can link to your account, such as a birthday list or your employees' work anniversaries. For this video, I'm going to be using Google Sheets. Microsoft Excel is also a very popular platform. At the end of the video, I'm going to show how to link a Microsoft Excel sheet. So I'm going to be selecting Google Sheets. And here it's prompting me to enter my Google Sheets URL. When you copy the URL of a Google Sheets, it's only pulling the tab you have open. When I copy this, it's only going to pull this all tab because that's what I have pulled up. I'm going to paste it here. If your Google Sheets is locked or you require a login to access it, you are going to be prompted to sign in with Google here. However, if you are not using a locked sheet, when I select import data, it will not prompt you to log in. So once you have your URL, just go ahead and select import data. Now that's going to pull in the data that you just copied. One thing I want to point out here, the first row is highlighted in blue because OptiSigns is going to read that first row and then take the data underneath it. So it's important to set up your external data sheet with the first row being your headers. Once I have my spreadsheet here, I'm going to select this Save button. Name your data source. If you select only import once, and in the future, I come to this Google Sheets and I make edits here, it's not going to show on my screens or within my content on OptiSigns because I only imported it once. Meaning when you want to make updates to the spreadsheet, you have to do it within OptiSigns, periodic direct access, and periodic background sync. These are very similar, and most people don't need to know the technical differences of them. What I'm going to point out is the update interval is the same for both of these options. That's just when the screens are going to update. So OptiSigns is going to be pulling data all the time for direct access, really live up to date. But using this route could show performance issues because it's constantly trying to pull that live data, whereas periodic, it's only going to be pulling data from your spreadsheet every so often. And then when that update interval hits, it's going to send that update to the screens. We advise you to use periodic background sync. So for this video, I'll be using periodic background sync, and we'll just use a 1 hour update interval. So now I'm going to select done here. And there we have it. We have our data source connected to our account showing right there. We need to add our birthday information from our external spreadsheet to our blank canvas. For this, we're going to be using repeaters. And what a repeater does is it's going to create an element from your data source, and it will repeat it depending on how many sources of specific data you have. So if we look at my sheet I connected, president's birthdays, you'll see I have multiple cells of data under a header. So a repeater would create one element, and then every source of data is going to mimic that element, right? So that's why we're using a repeater. Now, let's say you only have one cell that you want to pull data from. In that case, you probably wouldn't want to use a repeater. You still could. And I'm going to show you how to do that within this video. So just stay tuned. We will get to that. And when you click on repeaters, there's 3 different ways to be able to add a repeater to your design. There is add a blank repeater. You start from scratch. Repeater components, and that is a small design. It's not going to cover up your entire canvas here. If you scroll down a little more, there are repeater templates you can build off of, and that's going to cover up the whole canvas, this entire blank area, right? So I'm just going to be going with a repeater template for this video. I'm going to click on that. Now, I also want to point out that whichever of these 3 routes you do, they're all going to have the same option, same editing ability. This is just a starting point. Now, everything that you see here within the designer app of this template, you can edit and adjust to your liking. So I'm going to click on elements that I don't want and delete those. And you have a bunch of other edit options here at the top to adjust to your liking. So I've made my edits to the design and I like how it looks. Now I need to connect my data source to the repeater component within this design. The repeater component is pretty easy to recognize within your design. It's usually front and center, but if you're struggling to find your repeater component, just click on elements and you'll notice there's resizing tools. But when you click on the repeater element, 2 buttons will appear. They are the edit button and the expand button. So I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click on settings, and a menu will pull up on the right-hand side. I'm going to select replace data source. I select that, it's going to pull up this window, and it says under used in this design, birthday sample data source 2. That is not our data source. OptiSigns provides example data sources that are used in repeater components and repeater templates. We need to connect ours. So in other data sources, select this drop down and select your desired data source that you've added to your account. Now in this window, if you select this drop down, it shows how OptiSigns is going to automatically map your data to this design. This can be skipped. You could just select continue and we'll map it ourselves. I'm just going to go ahead and map my name to where the first name is. So if I click this drop down, expand row 1, and blue is the headers, number, name, term. So I'm going to select name, and that's going to map wherever first name is from the old data source. It's going to now show data under my name header right here. Now I'm going to select continue. And now my data source is being mapped to this design, and they go in order top to bottom. So if I want to adjust how each element looks, they all will follow the same design. To be able to edit that design, you double click on it and it will pull up one element from that repeater. And what I can do is I can edit things just like I did in the designer. And what else I can do is if I hit this drop down, I can expand row 1 and I can drag and drop other data to be mapped to my design. So I'm going to do number here, put that at the top, and let's resize that. Now I'm going to map their birthday right here, born. Okay, I've made my adjustments. So when I hit update here, you'll notice this element I just made adjustments to is repeating for all the other ones. So that is how we map specific data to our repeater component and also adjust how each element looks. Now, let's say we want to adjust how this entire repeater component as a whole looks. We're just going to click on it and select settings. I'm going to start with filter here. Filter is a pretty advanced feature. I'm just going to show you an example of it, but just know there are many more use cases you can use for this, such as only showing an employee's picture when it's their birthday, or only displaying employees from a department that their screen is located in. When I hit this first drop down, it's going off the headers for my spreadsheet. And let's say I want to filter out a president with a specific number. I'm going to have it equal, go over here. Let's do Herbert Hoover. He's number 31. I can hit this drop down and it provides a few rules for your screens, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to be typing in my own rule. I'm going to say number not equal 31, and I will select update. And I know what you're saying, hey, Herbert Hoover is still there. The filter tool works in the background. So when I hit preview right up here, I'll see a preview of what I've made. And now Herbert Hoover will not appear when I preview. So that is my filter option. I'm going to remove my filter for this video. Disconnect, that is pretty self-explanatory. It will disconnect our data source from the repeater. Edit and resize, these are the same buttons as down here. What resize does, you click here or down here, allows me to resize it just like I would with any other element, and hit expand, and they will all expand as well. Below that, we have empty data handling. There are 3 options. First, I'm going to show you use default value. It is going to fill in and continue this element until you reach the total items displayed per page, 6. If I change that to skip or use blank, it will not show that 6th one. Use default value will do that. And how you set your default value is simply double clicking on your repeater. This decides what your default value is. Let's say I only have 2 items displayed per page. So what skip is going to do is, let's say there is no data here at all. When that asset appears in a playlist, that playlist is just going to skip that content completely. There's no data to show. Whereas if you set it as use blank, when this asset appears on the playlist, it's going to still show that asset, just not have any data here, right? It's just going to be blank. So I'm just going to show you quickly an example of that. I have playlist set up right here. You'll see it's our asset we created. One is on use blank and one is on skip. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on my device here. And you'll see when skip appears, it's going to completely skip that asset. Whereas when blank appears, it's still going to show that asset, but it's not going to show that repeater component at all. The skip feature is ideal for those of you setting up a birthday design. We don't want this graphic to appear at all if there are no birthdays to show. Okay, space between items. That is going to dictate the space between your items or elements. So if I change this to 200, you will see a large space there. Let's set that to 10. Items display direction, pretty self-explanatory. Left to right is going to show your content left to right, whereas top to bottom will show it top to bottom. Now I know what you're saying. I just changed it to top to bottom and it's not showing. OptiSigns knows there is not room to show this at the bottom here. It will be cut off, so it's automatically sending it that way. To be able to adjust this, you would have to move, expand, and re-expand. And OptiSigns knows, hey, there's room on our designer canvas now. We're going to utilize that. Maximum items in each column. I have it set to 6, but you're not seeing 6. That's because the maximum displayed per page is 2. Let's drop this down to max 1 per column. You'll notice it'll go over because we have 1 and we don't want another one in that column. Our second column, we don't want another one. Now, if I expand this to show 3 per page, it's still going to show 1. Now, if I do max 2 per column, you'll notice it'll cut that one off because I only have 3 per page. So fiddle around with that. It's confusing at first, but it will start to make sense. What this additional row spacing is going to be this top and bottom space. So let's do that one, 200. Right there, 200. Let's adjust how this looks. So I only have 2 showing, but I have more data in my spreadsheet, right? I have more than just 2 names on here that need to show. So what OptiSigns is going to do is create a new page or a new slide, if you will, that's going to cycle through the remaining data. Now that cycle, if you will, is going to be set to 10 seconds by default. I'm going to change that to 3 just to kind of show you what it will look like. So now when I select preview, you will notice after 3 seconds, it's going to change the names to the next 2, and it will continue that until it repeats. Now you may have noticed that your screen is showing a item display alignment option, whereas my screen hasn't been showing that. This feature just came out while I was making this video. So let's cover this quickly. It's not going to align it on the screen. It's going to align the items within the repeater component. Right now I have 2 showing. I'm going to change this to center So if I hit preview here, you'll notice when it gets the last name, it's going to center that item completely rather than be offset to the left or be offset to the right. See Barack Obama right there in the middle. Now let's change this to right align and preview it. And you'll notice when Obama's name comes up, his item is going to be right over here on the right-hand side, just like that. So that is the alignment tool. Let's adjust how this looks. So that is how you adjust how an element repeater looks as a whole rather than individually. Now, I mentioned that I would show you how to connect just a data cell, right? Instead of having it repeat because I only have one cell underneath. This is a good example, August right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on data source on the left, used in this design. I'm going to be using this one. Row 1 shows current month right there. I'm not going to row 2 where there's nothing in the current month. I'm just going to drag and drop this current month onto September, and it's going to change that automatically. You'll notice when I double click on this, it doesn't give me an option to open up just the repeater editor, just like I can here when I double click on it, because it's not repeating. It's only pulling information from that cell, not that entire column. Okay, and now I want to show you what this looks like live in action when I change data. So I'm going to go to my data sheet that I have connected, and I'm going to update this data sheet. Go back here, and it hasn't updated yet. That's because it updates with the intervals. Every hour is what we set ours at. But to be able to force sync it or force update it to show what it looks like, all we have to do is go to the data source tab in the left, used in this design, hit the drop down, click the 3 dots by our data source, select edit settings, and select sync now. So that syncs it, but hasn't updated our design yet. Hit this cancel. I'm going to select the 3 dots again, and I'm going to go refresh data in design mode only. And right there, you see July changed, and John Quincy Adams, is he my first? He is. And if we go to the preview, you'll see after 3 seconds, our next president is going to appear right there. Close that preview. Now I want to save this design. All you do is go to this top right where it says your new birthday design and select this save button right here. Now I can close this. There's the asset we just created. Now we can add it to any playlist we like, any schedule. We can push it to a screen. It's good to go. And now anytime I want to make updates, I just need to update my Google Sheets and it will go live to my screens. Pretty cool. Now you don't have to log into OptiSigns. And I just wanted to point out that if you guys are specifically using birthdays, like I'm showing in this video, OptiSigns has created a pre-made template for Google Sheets. And this template is great because it uses formulas to show birthdays only for specific days. All you have to do is input the names and the birth dates that you are going to be showing off on your screens. So for my example, I'll have to go to this Google Sheets and update it each month. Whereas this template, you can set it to showcase birthdays on their specific days, and you don't even have to go to your Google Sheet and edit. It will just update by itself with the formulas it uses. And there's a link in the description for you to be able to access this and copy it. And there's a tab on here with in-depth instructions on how to adjust it to your liking. It's very simple to use and a lot of people use it. We also have a lot of how-tos on how to connect your Google Sheets and utilize our OptiSync feature. Those links are in the description as well. Now what I'm going to do is show you how to connect a Microsoft Excel sheet as a data source to our OptiSigns account. If you're not sticking around for that, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. Thank you for choosing OptiSigns, and I hope this has enhanced your experience with the OptiSigns platform. So if you stuck around to see how to add a Microsoft Excel sheet, it's very simple. It's very much like Google Sheets. Select Apps and select Designer. Data Sources, Add Data Source, and here I'm going to select Microsoft Excel. Now please note this is going to have to be an Excel sheet that is online or using the cloud. It cannot be saved on your desktop. So instead of copy and pasting a URL, we're going to sign into Microsoft right here. It's going to pull up a window to sign in. If you've signed in before, it won't prompt you. It'll remember that, as you can see on mine. And I'm just going to navigate to my Excel sheet I want to connect. And I will select it. And here, since we weren't copying and pasting a URL, you are going to have to select the tab you want to bring over. And then once you have your tab selected, just go ahead and select import data. And there it is. It's going to pull it up just like we did earlier. Follow those same steps we just went over. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, reach out. We are happy to help. In the description, there are plenty of how-to articles and support documents. Thank you for choosing OptiSigns. We'll see you next time.